In the bustling city of New Haven, Marcus Chen's life had fallen into a predictable rhythm. At 32, he ran a small electronics repair shop tucked between a coffee house and a vintage bookstore on Cedar Street. While others saw broken gadgets as lost causes, Marcus saw potential in every cracked screen and malfunctioning circuit board. His customers often joked that he had magic hands, though they'd never guess how close to the truth they'd soon be. On a rainy Tuesday evening, as thunder rolled overhead and most shops were closing early, an elderly woman shuffled into his store. Water dripped from her warm grey coat, and in her trembling hands, she held what appeared to be an ancient laptop case. "We're actually about to close," Marcus started, but something in the woman's eyes made him pause. They were an unusual shade of violet, almost luminescent in the shop's fluorescent lighting. "Please," he said, her voice carrying an accent he couldn't quite place. "I've heard you can fix the unfixable. This is special." She placed the case on his counter with surprising gentleness. Marcus's curiosity got the better of him. "Let's take a look," he said, unzipping the case. Instead of a laptop, he found an object that defied explanation. It resembled a tablet computer, but its casing was made of an iridescent material he'd never seen before. Strange symbols decorated its edges, seeming to shift and change as he examined them. "This isn't exactly my usual type of repair," he said carefully. The old woman smiled mysteriously. "But you can fix it, yes? Name your price." Marcus should have said no. He dealt in smartphones and laptops, not mysterious artifacts. But that object called to something deep within him, awakening an almost forgotten childhood dream of discovering something extraordinary. $500, he said, expecting her to balk at the price. Instead, she immediately produced 5 crisp $100 bills. "It will be ready when it's ready," she said, turning to leave. "You'll know when it's fixed." Before Marcus could ask any more questions, she disappeared into the rain. For hours that night, Marcus studied the device in his workshop. Its construction defied everything he knew about electronics. The more he examined it, the more convinced he became that this was no ordinary piece of technology. The symbols along its edges seemed to respond to his touch, glowing faintly whenever his fingers brushed them. At midnight, after countless attempts to understand its mechanisms, Marcus accidentally pressed a specific sequence of symbols. The device hummed to life, projecting a holographic display that filled his workshop with swirling patterns of light. In the center, text began to form in mid-air. "Quantum Interface Terminal. Emergency Protocol activated. Seeking authorized user for system restoration." Marcus's heart raced. This was clearly alien technology, far beyond anything on Earth. As a child, he dreamed of discovering proof of extraterrestrial life. Now, in his small repair shop, that dream had literally fallen into his lap. The holographic display shifted, presenting what appeared to be a diagnostic interface. To Marcus's amazement, he could understand the symbols now. They seemed to translate themselves in his mind. The device was damaged, yes, but not beyond repair. It needed a specific sequence of energy pulses to restore its core functions. Working through the night, Marcus carefully followed the device's guidance. He jerry-rigged a power supply using parts from his shop, precisely matching the frequencies the interface requested. As dawn approached, he connected the final circuit. The device pulsed with brilliant light, and the air itself seemed to ripple. A figure began to materialize in his workshop, tall, elegant, and decidedly not human. Her skin had a subtle blue tinge, and her hair seemed to float as if suspended in water. When she opened her eyes, they contained swirling galaxies. "I am Lyra," she said, her voice resonating with harmonic overtones. "You have restored my quantum interface terminal, and by the laws of my people, I am bound to grant you 3 wishes as reward." Marcus stood frozen, his mind racing to process what was happening. This wasn't just alien technology. He'd accidentally repaired some kind of advanced artificial intelligence or interdimensional being. 3 wishes? He managed to say, like a genie. Lyra's expression showed mild amusement. "Your folklore has some basis in truth." My species has been visiting Earth for millennia, occasionally interacting with humans through controlled interfaces like myself. But be warned, wishes have consequences, and the ripples they create cannot always be predicted. Marcus sank into his chair, still stunned by this turn of events. And what happens after the wishes? That depends entirely on you, Lyra replied. Choose wisely, Marcus Chen. Few humans ever receive such an opportunity, and fewer still use it well. As the first rays of sunlight began to peek through his workshop windows, Marcus realized his ordinary life had just become extraordinarily complicated. He had 3 wishes that could change everything, but would change be for the better? The weight of possibility pressed down on him as he considered his first wish, knowing it could either fulfill his greatest dreams or become his worst nightmare. Marcus spent the next day in a daze, going through the motions of fixing phones and laptops while his mind raced with possibilities. Lyra had taken the form of a delicate bracelet on his wrist, her interface form, as she called it, drawing curious glances from customers who noticed its otherworldly sheen. During his lunch break, alone in his workshop, he whispered to the bracelet, "Can we talk?" The air shimmered, and Lyra materialized, her cosmic form casting soft light across the cluttered workspace. "You have questions," she stated, settling into a cross-legged position mid-air. "Millions," Marcus admitted, "but mainly, why me? That woman who brought you in, she wasn't really an old lady, was she?" Lyra's smile held secrets. "My previous guardian, taking a form she thought would intrigue you. We've watched you, Marcus Chen. Your ability to see potential in broken things, to restore what others discard, it's rare, more rare than you know. So this isn't random?" Marcus gestured at the various devices he'd repaired. "All this was some kind of test." "In a way," Lyra acknowledged. "My kind believes in earned power, not random chance. You proved yourself worthy by repairing my terminal without instruction, using only human ingenuity." Marcus absorbed this, feeling both proud and slightly manipulated. "And these wishes, you said they have consequences. What exactly does that mean?" Lyra's expression grew serious. "Reality is interconnected. Change one thread, and the entire tapestry shifts. Small wishes often have larger consequences than grand ones. Those who wish for wealth often lose what truly made them rich. Those who wish for love frequently find themselves unable to trust it's real." "What about knowledge?" Marcus asked, an idea forming. "If I wish to understand your technology, to truly comprehend how it works." Lyra tilted her head, studying him. "Interesting. Most humans wish for power or wealth first. You wish for understanding." "Knowledge is power," Marcus said simply. "And if I'm going to make wishes that change reality, I'd rather understand the mechanics behind it." A look of respect crossed Lyra's ethereal features. "Very well. State your wish clearly." Marcus took a deep breath. "I wish for the knowledge and understanding to comprehend and work with your quantum interface technology, but only as much as my human mind can safely handle." Lyra's form began to glow brighter. Wish granted. The sensation started as a gentle warmth in Marcus's temples, then expanded. Information flooded his consciousness. Quantum mechanics far beyond current human understanding, multi-dimensional mathematics, the intricate dance of subatomic particles across probability spaces. He saw how Lyra's people had learned to manipulate reality itself through quantum interfaces, how wishes were actually controlled alterations of probability fields. When the knowledge transfer finished, Marcus found himself on his knees, gasping. His head throbbed, but his mind felt expanded, enlightened. The simple electronics on his workbench now seemed like children's toys compared to what he could comprehend. "How do you feel?" Lyra asked, concern evident in her voice. "Like my brain just ran a marathon," Marcus groaned, but then smiled. "But I understand now. Your quantum interface, it's not magic at all. It's science, just so advanced it seems like magic. The wishes are actually—" "Careful," Lyra interrupted. Knowledge of quantum manipulation can be dangerous if shared too freely. Your world isn't ready for such technology. Marcus nodded, understanding the responsibility that came with his new knowledge. He looked at his hands, seeing them differently now. He could fix more than just broken phones now. He could potentially fix anything. The implications were staggering. A customer's bell chimed from the front of the shop, pulling him back to reality. "We'll talk more later," he whispered, and Lyra nodded before returning to her bracelet form. As Marcus returned to work, his mind buzzed with new possibilities. He could see the quantum structure of everything now, the probability fields that held reality together. A cracked iPhone screen wasn't just glass anymore. It was a matrix of possibilities that could be adjusted, refined, restored. By closing time, he'd repaired devices that would have previously taken days and minutes, each fix accompanied by a subtle manipulation of quantum fields that left his customers staring in amazement. Word spread quickly. The repair guy on Cedar Street could fix anything instantly. But as Marcus locked up that evening, he noticed something strange. Every device he'd repaired that day was emitting a faint quantum signature he hadn't seen before. And in the distance, he could have sworn he saw figures watching his shop, figures that disappeared when he tried to focus on them. His first wish had given him amazing knowledge and ability, but it had also put him on someone's radar, or something's radar. As he touched Lyra's bracelet form nervously, he wondered if perhaps understanding wasn't always the safest thing to wish for. 3 days after his first wish, Marcus's repair shop had become the talk of New Haven. His ability to fix any device instantly had drawn attention he wasn't prepared for. News vans parked outside, tech company representatives left countless messages, and mysterious men in dark suits lingered across the street. Late one night, as Marcus was experimenting with his new knowledge, the shop's security system alerted him to movement outside. Through the cameras, he saw 3 figures approaching, but they weren't human. His enhanced perception revealed their quantum signatures, similar to Lyra's but somehow distorted. "They're here." Lyra materialized, her expression grave. "The Quantum Enforcement Division. They monitor unauthorized technology transfers between species." "What do they want?" Marcus asked, though he already suspected the answer. "You," Lyra said simply. "Human minds aren't supposed to comprehend quantum mechanics at this level. Your wish, it violated certain universal protocols." Before Marcus could respond, the shop's door disintegrated into particles. 3 beings entered, wearing what looked like sleek armor that bent light around them. Their forms shifted between human and something decidedly alien. Marcus Chen, the leader, spoke, its voice resonating on multiple frequencies. "You have acquired restricted knowledge. Protocol demands immediate memory extraction and quantum reset." Marcus's mind raced. His new understanding told him exactly what quantum reset meant. They would erase not just his memories, but his entire timeline since receiving the wish. Everything he'd learned, everything he'd accomplished, would vanish. "Wait," he said, stepping forward. "I get it. You're worried about humans accessing advanced technology too soon. But think about what I've done with this knowledge. I haven't built weapons or tried to change the world. I'm just fixing things." The leader tilted its head. "Intent is irrelevant. Protocol is absolute." "Is it?" Marcus challenged, his confidence growing. "Your quantum signatures, they're degrading. You're not supposed to maintain those forms in our dimension for long. That's why you need interfaces like Lyra." The enforcers exchanged looks. Marcus pressed his advantage. "I can help. My understanding of quantum mechanics might be unauthorized, but it's also unique. I see things differently than your people do." Lyra floated closer to him, her voice soft. "Marcus, what are you doing?" "Making my second wish," he replied, then addressed the enforcers. "I wish for the ability to stabilize quantum signatures in our dimension, allowing beings like you to exist here safely." Lyra's form flared with brilliant light. The enforcers stepped back, their forms flickering rapidly. Energy coursed through Marcus as new knowledge merged with his existing understanding. He saw the solution. a way to anchor quantum states to regular space-time without degradation. Acting quickly, Marcus reached out with his enhanced abilities. He could see the fracturing quantum matrices that made up the Enforcer's forms, the way they struggled to maintain coherence in our dimension. With precise mental adjustments, he began stabilizing their signatures. The effect was immediate. The Enforcer's forms solidified, their quantum signatures harmonizing with local space-time. For the first time, they looked truly solid, no longer shifting between states. Impossible, the leader whispered, examining its now stable form. Our best scientists have tried for millennia to achieve this. Sometimes it takes an outside perspective, Marcus said. Your people understand quantum mechanics perfectly, but you're so integrated with it that you can't see simple solutions. Humans might be less advanced, but we're good at finding unexpected answers. The second Enforcer stepped forward. The human speaks truth. This stability, it changes everything. Our ability to interact with developing worlds has always been limited by degradation. We cannot ignore protocol, the leader insisted, but with less conviction. The knowledge transfer was unauthorized. Then authorize it, Marcus suggested. Make me an official liaison between our species. I can help your people understand how to interact with our dimension more effectively, and in return, you can guide humanity's development of quantum technology. The Enforcers conferred in rapid, multi-tonal bursts of language. Finally, the leader turned to Marcus. Your proposal has merit. We will consult with the Council. Until then, you may retain your knowledge, under supervision. As the Enforcers prepared to leave, their forms now perfectly stable, the leader paused. Your species continues to surprise us, Marcus Chen. Perhaps it is time we reconsidered some of our protocols. After they departed, Lyra approached Marcus. That was incredibly risky. Your second wish could have failed catastrophically. But it didn't, Marcus smiled. Sometimes you have to trust that understanding leads to better solutions than fear. Lyra studied him thoughtfully. You still have one wish remaining. Yet instead of using your second wish to escape the Enforcers, you chose to help them. Why? Marcus looked at his hands, still tingling with quantum energy. Because that's what humans do at their best. We don't just solve problems for ourselves, we try to find solutions that help everyone. As dawn approached, Marcus began preparing for another day at his shop. But now, alongside the regular customers with their broken phones and laptops, he wondered how many beings from other dimensions might seek his help. He had become more than just a repairman, he was now a bridge between worlds. What he didn't know was that his actions had set in motion changes far beyond Earth, and his final wish would soon be needed for challenges he couldn't yet imagine. A week after his encounter with the Quantum Enforcement Division, Marcus's shop had become a secret meeting point for interdimensional beings. Thanks to his stabilization technique, visitors from across the multiverse could safely consult with him about various technological issues. He kept the front of the shop running normally, while the back rooms served as what he jokingly called his quantum consultation office. One quiet afternoon, Lyra's bracelet form suddenly turned ice-cold against his skin. Something's wrong, she materialized, her usual calm demeanor replaced with urgent concern. The quantum fields are destabilizing. Marcus extended his enhanced senses into the quantum realm and immediately saw what had alarmed her. The fabric of local space-time was developing microscopic tears, leaking energy in ways that shouldn't be possible. This isn't natural, he muttered, analyzing the degradation patterns. Someone's deliberately weakening the dimensional barriers. As if in response to his observation, every electronic device in the shop went dead. The lights flickered out, plunging the room into darkness, broken only by Lyra's ethereal glow. A holographic projection appeared in the center of the room, a face composed of shifting geometric patterns. "Greetings, Marcus Chen," it said in a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. "Your reputation has spread far beyond your small world." "Who are you?" Marcus demanded, though the quantum signature told him this being was far more powerful than the enforcement officers he'd met before. I am what your kind might call a quantum architect, the face replied. One of the original designers of the dimensional interfaces you've been modifying. Lyra moved protectively closer to Marcus. The architects are supposed to be extinct, she said, her voice trembling slightly. They disappeared eons ago. We chose isolation, not extinction, the architect corrected. We watched as younger races misused our technology, creating interfaces like this one. It gestured toward Lyra, to meddle in developing worlds. But you, Marcus Chen, have forced us to break our silence. Marcus stood his ground. Because I found a way to stabilize quantum signatures. That's helping people, not harming them. Naive child, the architect's voice held something like pity. Do you understand what happens when too many stable quantum entities exist in one dimension? The barriers between realities begin to dissolve. Your solution is causing a cascade failure across multiple universes. Horror dawned as Marcus processed this. His enhanced perception confirmed the architect's words. The quantum stabilization effect was spreading, weakening the very structure of reality. I can fix this, Marcus said, his mind already racing through possibilities. Just tell me how. You cannot fix it, the architect stated. The process must be reversed. All stabilized entities must be returned to their original state, and the knowledge of how to perform the stabilization must be erased, including from your mind. There has to be another way, Marcus argued, if we work together. This is not a negotiation, the architect interrupted. Even now, your enforcement friends approach, having finally detected the degradation. They will follow their protocols, complete quantum reset of this timeline. Everything you've done, everyone you've helped, will cease to exist. Marcus felt the quantum disturbances growing stronger. Through the shop's windows, he could see reality itself beginning to waver, like heat waves on hot pavement. People on the street stopped and stared as the sky took on impossible colors. Lyra, he turned to his companion, if I use my last wish, can I fix this? Theoretically, she said carefully, but the scale of what you're suggesting, it would require unprecedented power. It might destroy you. The architect's projection grew larger. No single wish has the power to counteract this level of dimensional instability. Accept the reset. It is the only way. But Marcus was already thinking differently, applying his human perspective to quantum mechanics in ways the architect hadn't considered. You're wrong, he said quietly. A wish doesn't have to fix everything. It just has to change the right thing. Understanding dawned in Lyra's cosmic eyes. Marcus, no. I wish, Marcus spoke clearly, power building around him, for the ability to evolve quantum interfaces to safely adapt to any dimension without external stabilization. The wish took effect immediately. Marcus felt the knowledge flow into him, but this time it was different. Instead of just understanding quantum mechanics, he was becoming part of it. His body began to glow with the same ethereal light as Lyra's. Impossible, the architect's projection flickered. You're transforming yourself. Marcus smiled as his transformation completed. He was still human, but also something more, a living quantum interface. Not just myself, he said, extending his awareness. Every stabilized being he'd helped felt the change, their forms naturally adapting to exist in any dimension without causing instability. The tears in reality began to heal themselves. The sky returned to its normal color. The architect's projection wavered, showing genuine surprise for the first time. You've rewritten the fundamental laws of quantum interfaces, the ancient being said slowly. Instead of forcing stability, you've granted them the ability to achieve it naturally. How did you conceive of this? Because humans don't just fix things, Marcus replied, feeling the power of his new existence coursing through him. We improve them. We find ways to make them better than they were before. The architect's projection was silent for a long moment. Perhaps it said finally, we were premature in our isolation. Your species continues to prove. Interesting. The projection faded away, leaving Marcus alone with Lyra. She approached him, her form now resonating on the same frequency as his new existence. "You've changed everything," she said softly. "The council, the architects, they'll all have to reconsider their positions now." Marcus looked down at his hands, glowing with quantum energy. "I meant what I said about improving things. Earth is ready for more contact with other dimensions, but it needs to happen the right way. Maybe that's why all this happened, to create someone who could bridge the gap." As his shop's lights flickered back to life, Marcus realized his simple life of fixing broken electronics had evolved into something far greater. He had become a true bridge between worlds, ready to help guide humanity's first steps into a much larger universe. But first, he had some explaining to do to his regular customers about his slightly glowing appearance. In the weeks following his transformation, Marcus's repair shop became something else entirely. While he still fixed phones and laptops in the front, his subtle glow, now explained away as an experimental lighting system, the back room had evolved into an interdimensional embassy. Representatives from countless civilizations sought his guidance on quantum interface technology. His unique human perspective, combined with his new nature as a living quantum interface, provided solutions that had eluded their greatest minds for millennia. One morning, as Marcus helped a young alien species adapt their interfaces to safely visit Earth, Lyra appeared with unusual urgency. "The Council requests your presence," she announced. "All of them." Marcus had dealt with individual council members before, but never a full quantum oversight council. Why now? "They've detected something." Lyra's form flickered with concern. "A quantum anomaly unlike anything in their records. They believe it's connected to your transformation." Using his evolved abilities, Marcus opened a dimensional portal, no longer needing external interfaces for such tasks. He and Lyra stepped through into a vast chamber that existed between realities. The council members, beings of pure energy and thought, surrounded them in a grand amphitheater. Marcus Chen, the council's collective voice, resonated through multiple dimensions. "Your changes to quantum interface technology have spread faster than anticipated, but we've discovered an unexpected side effect." Images appeared in the air around them, scenes from across the universe. On countless worlds, ordinary beings were spontaneously developing quantum awareness. The ability to perceive and interact with quantum fields was appearing naturally, without technology or wishes. "The evolution you triggered isn't just affecting interfaces," one council member explained. "It's affecting life itself. Consciousness across the universe is beginning to quantum entangle." Marcus studied the images, his enhanced perception seeing patterns the council had missed. "It's not random," he realized. "Life has always been quantum capable, we just couldn't access it before. My wish didn't create something new, it removed barriers we didn't know existed." "Dangerous barriers," another council member warned. "There are reasons consciousness evolved with quantum limitations. Without them we can grow," Marcus interrupted. "Look at the data again. Yes, beings are developing quantum awareness, but they're developing it at a pace they can handle. The evolution is self-regulating." He waved his hand, restructuring the displayed information. "See these patterns? The quantum awakening is occurring faster in species that are mentally and culturally prepared for it. It's like the universe is waking up, but only as fast as each part can handle." The council members conferred in frequencies beyond normal perception. Finally, their collective voice spoke again. "Your insight is compelling, but this evolution poses risks. Some species may use their new abilities destructively." "Then help them," Marcus urged. "That's why I became what I am, to bridge gaps, to guide development. Earth isn't ready for full quantum awakening yet, but we can prepare. All worlds can prepare, with proper guidance. You propose we take an active role in this evolution." The concept seemed to startle the council. "We have always been observers, not participants." "Maybe that's the problem," Marcus said. "You've been so careful about preserving the natural development of species that you forgot development itself isn't always natural. Sometimes it needs a push, and sometimes that push comes from unexpected places. He created a holographic display of his own, showing how his repair shop had become a model for controlled quantum integration. Look at what we've accomplished already. Beings from different dimensions learning to interact safely, sharing knowledge at a pace that doesn't overwhelm anyone. It can work on a universal scale too. Lyra moved forward, her form resonating with support. He's right. I've seen it myself. His methods may be unorthodox, but they work. The old protocols aren't enough anymore. The council chamber filled with swirling energy as the members deliberated. Marcus waited patiently, knowing this moment could reshape the future of multiple universes. Finally, the council reached a decision. Marcus Chen, we hereby appoint you as Chief Quantum Integration Officer. You will oversee the controlled awakening of quantum consciousness across all registered dimensions. Additionally, the chamber shifted, revealing a familiar face, the architect from before. We have convinced our ancient colleagues to end their isolation. The architects will work with you, combining their experience with your innovative approach. Marcus felt the weight of this responsibility, but also its rightness. This was why he'd been chosen, why everything had led to this moment. His simple wish to understand had evolved into something far greater, a chance to help guide the evolution of consciousness itself. There's just one condition, he said, thinking of his little repair shop. I keep fixing phones too. Sometimes the smallest repairs matter just as much as the biggest changes. The council's collective amusement rippled through the chamber. Agreed, though perhaps you could do something about the waiting times. There is a rather long queue forming outside your shop. As Marcus and Lyra prepared to return to Earth, he reflected on how far things had come from that rainy night when an old woman brought him a mysterious device. He'd wanted to fix things, to understand how they worked. Now he was helping fix and understand reality itself. But first, he had a cracked iPhone screen waiting for him. Even quantum beings had to start somewhere. 6 months into his role as Chief Quantum Integration Officer, Marcus discovered that balancing universal responsibilities with running a small electronics repair shop wasn't as impossible as it seemed. Time moved differently across quantum dimensions, allowing him to spend what felt like weeks in cosmic councils, while only minutes passed on Earth. One ordinary Tuesday afternoon, as Marcus finished repairing a teenager's gaming laptop, he felt a familiar quantum ripple. The architect materialized in his back room, its geometric patterns showing signs of what Marcus had learned to recognize as anxiety. We've detected a temporal anomaly, the architect announced without preamble. The original timeline, the one where you first received your wishes, it's trying to reassert itself. Marcus set down his tools, instantly alert. I thought we stabilized all temporal contradictions. We did. Lyra appeared, her form unusually tense. But this is different. The universe seems to be remembering its original path. Marcus extended his quantum senses, and sure enough, he could feel it, a sort of cosmic déjà vu pulling at reality. Images flashed through his mind, a different version of himself, making different wishes, leading to a vastly different outcome. Show me, he commanded, and the air filled with temporal projections. He saw the original timeline, where instead of wishing for understanding, his alternate self had wished for conventional things. Wealth, power, love. That timeline had ended in disaster, with dimensional barriers collapsing completely. The universe is trying to prevent a paradox, the architect explained. Your wishes changed too much, created too many ripples. Reality wants to follow the path of least resistance. Marcus watched as cracks began appearing in the quantum field around his shop. How long do we have? Hours, maybe less. Lyra's voice was grim. When the temporal shift completes, everything we've accomplished will unravel. The quantum evolution, the interdimensional cooperation, all of it will never have happened. Marcus paced the room, his mind racing through possibilities. There has to be a way to anchor this timeline. The changes we've made, they're positive ones. The universe is better with them than without them. The universe doesn't care about better or worse. the architects stated. It cares about stability. But Marcus wasn't listening anymore. His human intuition, combined with his quantum awareness, had spotted something everyone else had missed. Look at the temporal patterns. He pointed to the swirling energies around them. They're not trying to erase our timeline, they're trying to merge it with the original one. The architect's patterns shifted in surprise. Impossible. Timeline merger on this scale would create a perfect balance, Marcus finished. Think about it. What if that's what was supposed to happen all along? Not one timeline or the other, but a synthesis of both. Lyra moved closer, studying the temporal energies. He's right. The patterns, they're not destructive, they're reconstructive. But managing a merger of this magnitude would require unprecedented coordination. Marcus smiled, his form beginning to glow brighter. Good thing we have a Chief Quantum Integration Officer, isn't it? Without waiting for response, Marcus opened quantum channels to every being he'd helped evolve, every civilization he'd guided toward quantum awareness. Their collective consciousness formed a vast network across dimensions. Everyone, his voice resonated through multiple realities. I need your help. We're going to rewrite history, not by changing it, but by embracing all of it. What followed was unlike anything the universe had ever seen. Billions of quantum-aware beings, working in perfect harmony, guided by Marcus's unique human perspective. They didn't fight the temporal merger. They shaped it, refined it, turned what could have been chaos into a carefully orchestrated dance of reality. The process was beautiful and terrifying. Past and present flowed together like rivers joining into a mighty ocean. Memories shifted and merged. People remembered both timelines simultaneously, understanding them as equally valid parts of a greater whole. When the merger completed, the universe had changed yet again, but this time it felt right. In this new reality, Marcus had indeed made his 3 wishes, but they had been different each time, creating multiple possibility streams that now flowed together in perfect harmony. His repair shop existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, a simple electronics store, an interdimensional embassy, and countless other variations, all equally real and accessible to those who knew how to look. Remarkable, the architect's voice held genuine awe. You didn't just prevent a paradox, you transformed it into a foundation for something entirely new. Lyra, now existing as both his quantum interface and his partner across multiple timelines, smiled. That's what humans do best, isn't it? They don't just solve problems, they find ways to make the problems part of the solution. Marcus looked around his shop, now a nexus point for infinite possibilities. Through the window, he could see people going about their daily lives, most unaware that they now existed in multiple quantum states, their potential expanding infinitely. A customer walked in with a broken tablet, and Marcus grinned. In one timeline, he would fix it with simple tools and skill. In another, he would use quantum manipulation. In yet another, he would teach the customer to fix it themselves. And somehow, impossibly yet perfectly, all these realities would be equally true. You know, he said to Lyra and the architect as he reached for his tools, I never did figure out who that old woman was who brought me your quantum interface in the first place. The architect's patterns shifted in what might have been a smile. In this timeline, in all timelines, are you sure you want to know? Marcus looked at his quantum-enhanced hands, at the infinite possibilities swirling around him, and laughed. Maybe some mysteries are better left as mysteries. After all, we've still got plenty of other questions to answer. And in every timeline across every quantum possibility, Marcus Chen, repair shop owner, cosmic facilitator, and bridge between realities, got back to work, fixing whatever needed to be fixed, one possibility at a time. 1 year after the great temporal merger, Marcus's repair shop had become a nexus point where multiple realities seamlessly intersected. On this particular morning, as golden sunlight streamed through the windows, a young girl walked in clutching a broken tablet. Can you fix it? She asked, her eyes wide with wonder as she noticed the subtle quantum shimmer around Marcus. My dad says you can fix anything. Marcus smiled, remembering when he'd been just a simple repairman. In one reality stream, he took the tablet and repaired it with traditional tools. In another, he used quantum manipulation to restore it instantly. In yet another, he began teaching the girl basic repair principles. You know, he said, existing simultaneously across all these possibilities, sometimes fixing things isn't about making them exactly like they were before. Sometimes it's about helping them become what they were always meant to be. The girl nodded, somehow understanding more than her years should allow. Like many humans since the temporal merger, she had an innate awareness of quantum potential, even if she didn't fully comprehend it yet. As she left with her repaired tablet, in all realities, Lyra materialized beside Marcus. The Council has been monitoring Earth's development, she said. The rate of quantum awakening among humans has exceeded all projections. Is that a problem? Marcus asked, though he already knew the answer across multiple timeline streams. Quite the opposite. The architect appeared, its geometric patterns showing excitement. Your species has adapted to quantum awareness more naturally than any other we've encountered. You've turned it into an art form. Marcus watched through the shop window as people passed by, each existing in multiple states of quantum potential. Artists were creating works that existed across dimensions, scientists were developing theories that unified quantum and classical physics, and children were growing up understanding reality as a sea of infinite possibilities. We've come to make you an offer, the architect continued. The Council wants to establish Earth as the first quantum integration academy. Your planet would become the training ground for other species learning to handle quantum awareness. You want Earth to become a universal teaching center. Marcus raised an eyebrow. That's unexpected. Is it? Lyra smiled. Humans have always been teachers and innovators. You especially, Marcus. Your wish for understanding didn't just change you. It showed us all a new way to look at reality. Marcus considered this across multiple timeline streams, seeing the potential ripples and possibilities. One condition, he said finally. We keep it grounded. No matter how cosmic we get, we never lose touch with the simple things. Like fixing broken tablets, the architect's patterns shifted in amusement. Exactly, Marcus nodded, because sometimes the biggest truths are found in the smallest moments. As if to prove his point, the shop's bell chimed again. This time, it was the same elderly woman who had first brought him the quantum interface device a year ago. Except now, Marcus could see her true form, a temporal nexus point, existing in all possible states at once. You knew, he said, understanding flowing across all timelines. You knew exactly what would happen when you brought me that device. She smiled, her form shifting between elderly human and something far more cosmic. I knew the possibilities, but you, Marcus Chen, you chose which ones to make real, and you chose better than anyone could have imagined. As she spoke, Marcus saw the full scope of what they created, a universe where reality itself had evolved, where the barriers between what was and what could be had become permeable. Humanity was stepping into a role no one had expected, teaching the cosmos how to dream bigger while keeping one foot firmly planted in the practical world. So, the woman's eyes twinkled with infinite possibility, ready for your next challenge. Marcus looked around his shop, this simple place that had become a crossroads of reality itself. In one timeline, he was still just a repairman. In another, he was a cosmic teacher. In yet another, he was a bridge between worlds. And somehow, impossibly yet perfectly, he was all of these things at once. Bring it on, he said, reaching for his tools across all realities. After all, everything needs a little fixing now and then, even the universe itself. The woman laughed, a sound that echoed through multiple dimensions, and Marcus knew that his greatest adventure was just beginning. Because in the end, the most powerful wish of all wasn't for wealth or power, or even knowledge. It was the wish to make things better, one repair at a time, across all the infinite possibilities of existence. And somewhere in every timeline, a broken device waited to be fixed, a new possibility waited to be discovered, and a human stood ready to show the universe how to see things differently.